are we the same? Well, a rock's a rock. If we're all one, people believe we're all connected. Trees, plants, rocks, minerals, everything. Well, imagine if a tree could really think. I mean, in the second Noah's Ark movie, when they had to fight the tree beings, I don't know if you saw it or not. Check it out. It's interesting. Idea. Then all the trees came to life and started protecting Noah's Ark. It was just an idea. But when I talk about a person, and we're each individualized, and we say we're all connected, everything's connected. Well, you pick up a rock, and you throw it in the water. You're connected to that rock. Does it change what you just did to the rock? Does that rock help you become aware of anything? Well, I made it skip across the water 5 times. Does it help you understand anything? So consciousness, which is separate from mind, not that the scientists will ever prove that in any great way, but hopefully they will help people understand who and what they are a little bit better. And that has nothing to do with God. So when we pick up a rock, and people say you can talk to a rock, well, start talking to it. Does it help you? Does it make you feel good? Does it give you any ups and downs of jumping up and down, running around the planet and say, wow, I talked to a rock? Well, you can communicate with anything in your mind. You can believe it told you anything in your mind. That's what the mind's great for. It takes every program that it has, puts it together to make some kind of reality out of it. What it believes, what it doesn't, what it accepts, what it's not going to, what's real, what's not. Well, I'm going to get into that because that's a critical starting point. Well, when we get ready to come into this world, then we don't pick a body, we put in a body. Now, the body that we're going to take, whatever one, wherever it is, anywhere on the planet. I'm not talking about being born on another planet, another universe. No, we're talking about humans on planet Earth, okay? We're going to keep it there for now. You have 1 to 125 maximum years to live. Now, when you go in the Bible, it says he lived 500, they had no track of time, exact time. And if you believe a person lived 500 years, what kind of vitamins were they taking? What kind of food did they eat? So it's kind of ridiculous to believe it. Well, because somebody says time, the government today has no clue about time. They can say, well, that was 500 years ago, that was 2,000 years ago, that was 20,000 years ago, that was 2 billion years ago. 2 billion years. What measurement did they prove that 2 billion years ago anything was alive, well, and happening? Carbon date or what? Because a machine said so? Do people want to believe machines? Well, if they do, we're going to be in serious trouble. A machine tells you you're a robot, even though you think you're a human. What are you going to do? Oh, no, I'm real. Why? I'm going to say, well, we just put that energy in there to make you think that. I mean, anything could happen. Are you going to believe a robot? Well, unless you get in touch with spirit and travel and learn about the inner worlds, you're going to be stuck to the laws of the physical reality and the physical world, which are ridiculous at every level. Now, I can go into multiple aspects of this right now, which I'll just throw a couple things in there, because we all want to believe our truth is important. Try to tell somebody the truth is ridiculous. Well, so is yours. Well, because anybody that doesn't know the truth will fight anybody else's truth. Because a little concept that they have called their truth, they can't let it get destroyed. Otherwise, they have zero. Well, prove it to me. Well, if God wanted us to be proven that it was there, it would. But we got to learn who and what we are before we can understand something that great. So, as we move into this dilemma of we're here on planet Earth now. Okay, we come in as a little child, unaware, unable to do many things. And we got 125 years to play out our game. Now, what happens the first 5 years of your life? If you have a mother and father, 2 mothers, 2 fathers, 3 mothers, 3 fathers, whatever you have in your home, are going to be programming you. teaching you things that they know. Obviously, they can't teach you anything that they don't know. And I'll tell you, the only things that are important are the things that they can't teach you. When a parent says, well, I'm going to teach them not to steal, not to curse, how many of those things happen? All right? I mean, how many parents teach their children not to curse? I don't curse. I was taught not to, period. I had one sad thing happen, and then I said, I'll never curse again. And I don't. I mean, somebody shoots me in the leg or something, I might scream or something, but outside of that, no. So, what happens to this little child? Well, the first thing that has to happen is they have to learn mommy and daddy. I taught a little girl the first word was car and my name, and her real father didn't like that at all. I taught her how to go to the bathroom. So yeah, you teach these little tiny little people how to do things. When is that little tiny person considered a teenager or an adult? Well, I'm going to go into numbers tomorrow, where teenager means a certain thing, where an adult means a certain thing. But a child, we're going to say below 10, all right, down to 0. What are they going to go through in those 10 years of their life? Well, first they're going to learn mommy and daddy, yes and no. All right, then they're going to be pushed words. And one of the words that they're going to be pushed real soon, because it's a way that parents escape dealing with their children, is called computers. Little children are playing with computers at very little bodies that run in these little bodies playing these computer games. And sadly, parents don't play the game enough to really understand what the game is. And these little children are learning how to play them, adapt to them, and get affected by them. Well, it's going to be abstract today, so don't say, well, I'm not talking about rocks constantly, which I will. I mean, I'll keep bringing it back to that. So these little children are playing with computers at what age? I mean, if I was little and I had a computer game to play, I would be playing it. It's temptation to let go of what you have in your consciousness and learn some programmed idea of how to be and how to act, even in games. One of the most corrupt games that I know was Grand Theft Auto. And I mean, I only know that from 15, 20 years ago. Because in that game, you could be a bad guy, you could be a good guy. You could beat people up, you could beat the cops up, you could do whatever you want in the game. So, what's that teach a child? Be free. Do whatever you want. Well, you know, morals disappeared. I don't know how many years ago. They were there when I was young. I explained that the last time I said I had a book called Morals. I used to buy it every month, like Life magazine. And it got into those things. How women had to change their shape to suit men, and it was morals, how men adapted their perverted, twisted ideas, which weren't really changed much. It was always to take advantage of women at every level. And that still hasn't changed, no matter what anybody out there says, no matter what man says. I had some man make fun of what I said, because I said, well, all men are retarded. And he said some nasty things, and I said, well, you know, I went through all the things that I talk about. And if you think men are nice people, show me one that doesn't have a perverted, twisted thought in his head, that doesn't curse, that doesn't drink, that does all these things in compassion and love, and thinks about God in between all that as well. How many men are like that? Do you know any? How many men could even think about God because they don't even have a clue what God could be? So yeah, we're getting into this point. Morals are gone. Reality is changing at every level of what we do, what we can do, or what we have to do. Tesla, well, he worked with aliens and came out with a lot of inventions. 200 he had patented. The government took 50 of them and made them into horrible weapons, devices, and used them. They gave the rest back to his country where he was from, and they made a museum out there for Tesla. But what did he have intended for these devices? Why were they given to him in the first place? If an alien knocked on your door and saw you doing your math or your homework and says, here's something, let me teach you something. Comes in and teaches you how to build an antimatter machine. Why did he give it to you? What are you supposed to do with that now? And what are you going to change? Well, here's the thing. Tesla was involved with time travel and created the machine for it to happen. So, by doing that, if the alien race gave him the technology to do that, they already had plans for the future of the human race at every level, good, bad, and indifferent. If I give you a pea shooter, you're not going to hurt too many people, but if I give you a bazooka, you're going to shoot something, destroy something sooner or later with it. That's man's nature. So when they give Tesla all these things to work with and create, which he did, and you're going to see the dangers of it real soon, but cars that do everything. I mean, when a coffee comes out of the car and says, here's a coffee, you don't have to go to stop for McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or anything. But what was the intentions aliens gave him all the knowledge that he had? He created quantum physics. He was totally responsible for it. There was a movie out. It was about a magician. I don't know what it was, but it was two magicians fighting over being the best magician. And one of them was dealing with Tesla's invention, teleporting, being able to transport something. But he was on the run from the government all the time. It was a good movie on the ideas of what was going behind what Tesla released to the world. Tesla had the earthquake machine and invented it. How to create an earthquake machine in 1900. So if you don't think the government's playing with that right now, which they are, sadly to say, and what they're doing with it, we're going to have earthquake wars. We're going to have tornado wars, weather wars. I'm not going to go into all that right now. But we're back to the 10-year-old. Playing with games. What game is beneficial to a child, really? I mean, when we were little, any toy that came out for a child had to teach them ABCs, how certain squares don't go in round holes, and things like that. But I know by the time I was 8 or 9, the toys that came out started changing. Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Boppa Bear. I don't know if you remember those games. A bear ran around on your floor and you shot him with a dart gun. And when you hit him, he would jump up. Rock'em Sock'em Robots, you keep boxing until you knock the other guy's head off. So just simple ideas for children. I had to have both. But I wanted a video camera, which I started doing videos when I was 10 years old, which I thought was cool. I made a Dracula movie. I made a Frankenstein movie. Made King Kong versus Gumby. Oh, no, Godzilla versus Gumby movie. I was into it. I had nobody around me, nobody to help me, nobody to teach me anything, even how to use the camera, which is all by myself. I didn't like reading, so I wouldn't read a manual by no means, but I learned everything myself. I never had somebody there helping me. And I could only say, when I was in high school, I was close to my grandmother, and I would go there, and she would help me. She would sit on it and trying to help me pass the test, which I never did. I had dyslexia, so numbers were always backwards. Words were a lot of times backwards to me. And when I put a date down, if it was 1947 or 1862, it would be backwards or wrong, and it would always be wrong. They didn't call it anything. I never got recognized as having it, just that I couldn't remember numbers. And then I had a couple other things as well. And so names, I never remembered names. I can't memorize things, never could. So I had lots of problems when I was growing up. But did anybody see it, help it, or know it? I'm talking about a normal child. Now, you have your little child, you stick them in the room, you give them a computer game to play. When it's dinner time, you let them come out for dinner, then you let them go back, play for another hour, then you put them to bed. Sadly to say, I know, even in millionaire houses or billionaire houses, which I lived in, same thing. Even the mother was playing some stupid kiddie game all the time. She'd go in the room and start playing it. I was freaked out because the little kids were playing Grand Theft Auto, and I saw them what they do and everything. So the programming in these little children, compare that to something else. Compare it to a rock. What's a rock learn? You're going to talk to a rock or be one with a rock. What is that supposed to do for you? Is it going to help you? You want to reincarnate back as a rock? Stay in one spot, get rained on, get snowed on, maybe once in a while get picked up by somebody and thrown around. If you're a big rock, you just sit there forever. What do you think a rock learns in a lifetime? And their lifetime's 100 times greater than ours. So when we compare ourselves to something, Why talk to a rock? Well, talk to a tree.